You know, this might be what the kids call a hot take, but I think there's some pretty good books coming out this year. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Pete. This is the Ponderings of Pete, where I sit around and possibly just bore people to death, technically, with my ponderings. Who knows? I don't know. I have no concept of what that means. It's time for another video, and this time we're going to talk about some anticipated releases for the year of 2023. Go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, all that jazz. I do really appreciate every one of you that comes back and watches more videos, and every one of you that faithfully watches. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Hi, Editing Pete here. There will be some slight inconsistencies with audio in this episode because my mic decided to fritz out a little bit. I apologize, but it is what it is. Now, anticipated releases. Let's talk about this. I think firstly, some of these releases have, well, at least one of these books has already come out by the time this video is going to go up. In fact, I've already started reading it, but I'm still going to put it on this list because I just am. Who knows? Somebody might not know about it. Well, they probably do, considering what it is. But oh well. If I will do this month by month, then I will give you dates. I will try to give you information and what my thoughts on these books are. And at the very end, there's also going to be a batch of unknowns where things have said general timeframes within 2023, or they said, hey, we're going to release this in 2023, but haven't said anything else. And that'll be at the end, as I said. Let's do this, shall we? Starting off with January, which is the first month in the year for those of you that didn't know. If you didn't, why have you been in a coma for the last 16 years of your life? Secret Project 1 by Brandon Sanderson. The spoiler is no longer a title, or the title is no longer a spoiler, but Trell of the Emerald Sea. And that's wrong, but we have Tress of the Emerald Sea. This is a beautiful book. I am about halfway through it, I think, and it is great. The humor in it is Sanderson, and it is good. It is something that connects with me personally. And it came out on the 1st for those of us that backed the Kickstarter. The ebook and the audiobook for it came out on the 10th for those of you that are looking for it. But the physical edition for people that did not back the Kickstarter is not coming out until March, I believe. So you'll have to wait a little bit for that. The physical edition for the Kickstarter backers is taking a little bit longer. I think sometime mid-January is probably when I would predict that we're going to start getting shipping notices out. Or actually, no, end of January is when they're going to get the notices out. Mid-February is when people are probably going to be getting them, because they switched some stuff around and the supply chain was screwing them over. So it is what it is. Looking at my notes, I realized that March is the wrong date. The date that I believe it's Tor has for the release of Tress and the Emerald Sea, or Tress of the Emerald Sea, is April 4th for the physical release. So correction there. The second book I have on my list is Shade of Madness by Tiago Abdallah. This is a self-published release. Tiago is a friend of mine that I met on Discord and through Alan's channel, and he is great. I have not read Touch of Light yet, but it is actually right there. I didn't do that on purpose. That's just where I'm stacking all the books until I actually manage to shelve them, because I need to rearrange my life, aka my bookshelves. So yeah, I am planning on reading Touch of Madness in the next month or two so I can get to Shade of Madness. And did I say Touch of Madness? I meant Touch of Light. Touch of Light is in the next month or two. Shade of Madness follows it. And then I'll talk about book 3 later. But what do I know about this series? Very little, because I tend to know very little about things like this if I intend to read them. But what I do know is there's a culture shaped around death and preventing it, ? There's also griffins, and some great fight scenes or war scenes. So that's the vagaries that I know. I've heard from a bunch of people that I trust that really love this series. I'm looking forward to this. Also, look at the griffin on the cover. That is so cool. Like, look at that. Like, there's some great covers here. On to February. First up, February 14th, we have Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. This is the second book in the Empire of the Wolf trilogy, I believe it's going to be. And another book where I intend to read the first one, but I have not read it yet. The first one was called The Justice of Kings, and again, a lot of people that I listen to, that I trust, really love this, so I expect to also really love this. It follows a man who is a traveling magistrate of the king, and there's some magic going on there that I don't really specifically recall what it is, but it really goes into the right of judgment and authority in relation to who has that right, and it's great. Again, planning on reading book 1. Next book, again, all these books where I'm like, oh, this is a release I'm looking forward to, but I haven't read the things before them. Emperor of Ruin by Django Wexler. I read the Shadow Campaigns by Django Wexler last year, starting with 1,000 Names, which is a really good book. And, you know, I'm willing to give him another shot. 1,000 Names was great. The other 4 kind of like weren't as good for reasons that I think I've talked about before. You might have seen that video by now. But yeah, so this is the 3rd book in a trilogy for him. The, what is it? Burning Blade and Silver Eye trilogy. I do have the first one, which is searching my bookshelf. It's not right there. What is it called? It's running from my brain right now. Actually, I can see it. Give me a second. Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler is the first one in that trilogy. I do have it on my DBR because I'm going to go for it. I do know that the first one starts out with 2 siblings who are on the opposite sides of a civil war. One of the siblings who's been brainwashed by a cult, ? And that's all I know. I was like, okay, this guy was a decent writer. Let's go. That's that. Next one, we have one that I'm particularly looking forward to because it was amazing cover art and just a really interesting premise. And that is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Susanna Chakraborty. This comes out on February 28th. And incidentally, the other one, Emperor of Ruin, also comes out on February 28th, if I did not mention that. So as far as I know, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, it's a standalone as far as I know. Basically a former pirate who's had her time of adventures and skullduggery and all this other jazz. She is being called back into action because one of her crewmates' daughters has disappeared. So, who can resist the lure of adventure one last time? So we got pirates. And I think that's really what sold me. It was pirates. I like pirates. I need to read more pirate stuff on the channel and talk about pirate stuff because pirate stuff is just a vibe that I like a lot. I'm staring at a stack of pirate books that I do have and I need to read. So, pirates. Next up, we have March. And the first book that I believe I have on my list is on March 21st, The Way of Adon by Philip Chase. Philip Chase is a fellow booktuber who is quite intellectual and amazing and cool and awesome. He is releasing his fantasy. In fact, his fantasy series is coming all out this year. And I feel like those words were in the wrong order, but it's fine. All 3 books, he's releasing them this year. It's great. You'll see the rest of them on this list. I know next to nothing about this, about like what the plot's about. To be honest, I know it's by a booktuber that I know, and I trust his taste. So I'm going to delve into these waters and be like, cool, let's read it. It's going to be self-published as well. So let's get it. And then the second one that's releasing in March, specifically March 30th, is going to be a compilation from KJ Parker called Under My Skin. So this is released by Subterranean Press, so get out your wallets, sadly. But it's worth it, trust me, because you won't be able to find it anywhere else because it's being released by Sub Press. Most of these stories have already been released, as far as I know. I believe there's at least one novel called Relics, which is an epistolary novel that is, you know, as I said, brand new, which is exciting because that's like Purple and Black, and Purple and Black is like probably my favorite work by him, I'd be honest. That and The Company are really close together. Like, they do such interesting things. I don't know which is better, to be honest. But epistolary stuff by KJ Parker, count me in. It's going to be great. I'm excited. And then if we move on to April, we're going back to Brandon Sanderson because Secret Project 2 is coming out. Now, unlike the other 3 projects, this will not be a Cosmere project. This will be a standalone, its own world. This is, you know, April 1st is when it comes out, and that's no joke, even though it's April Fool's Day. That's for Kickstarter backers. So the 1st is when the Kickstarter gets the ebooks and the audiobooks, and then on the 10th, just like the other one, April 10th is when ebooks and audiobooks come out for non-backers. Similarly, with the Physical book. Hopefully we will get our physical book delivery in April. We'll see, depending on supply chain stuff. And then 3 months later in June, yep, brain works, that is when the physical book will be released by Tor and such for everybody else. Also, in between those dates, I would definitely keep an eye on dragonsteel.com, I believe. No, brandonsanderson.com, and go to the Dragonsteel shop, because any extra copies of the premium hardcover edition of these books will be put on that website for you to buy. Be careful, because they're going to go quick. So, like, Google Alerts or something, like, they're going to go like this. It's going to be quick. The physical hardcover editions that are sold by Tor and Glance and all the other publishers will be different from the Brandon Sanderson Dragonsteel ones. So they won't be, they'll be less expensive, and less expensive, which is great. And then additionally, if you're looking to buy individual swag boxes, the excess of that will also be put on Brandon Sanderson's website. So you may be able to get all the swag boxes for less than the price of the actual Kickstarter. Who knows? If you're quick on the draw and not a scalper. Another one coming out in April that I'm super excited about is Forge of the High Mage by Ian C. Esselman. Malazan, baby, it's back! And I'm like stressing my B's super hard in this video. I don't know why. Who knows? It's 11:30 at night. I'm fine. But Forge of the High Mage. Let's talk about it. This is book 4 in Path to Ascendancy. I completed book 3 last year, and I enjoyed them. I wouldn't say they were amazing, but like he definitely there showed improvement, and I became more invested in the story by the 3rd book. So hopefully the 4th book continues the trend of getting better and better and better. And just like recognizing more and more characters that had played an active point in the story instead of having Easter eggs, which was the 1st book felt like mostly Easter eggs, and then the 2nd and 3rd book felt like the Easter egg characters essentially became more involved and an active part of the story, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. All right, next up in May, we have Lords of Uncreation by Adrian Chai. This comes out on May 2nd, and this is going to be the 3rd book in the Final Architecture series. Another series I haven't read, but I want to. But it's fine. It's all fine. The Eyes of the Void is kind of staring at me. That's book 2. But it's good. This is a space opera series by him. And speaking of May 2nd, there's another book coming out that day as well. We have, not only is it on May 2nd, but it's also another Adrian Tchaikovsky book, because if you thought this book was released, you were wrong. City of Last Chances by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This book has only been released in the UK up to this point, so the US release is May 2nd, so you can see it in stores then. If you want to, you can pay shipping and get it from the UK, like I did. It's a pretty book. It's a really nice cover. Honestly, I would have cover bought this, to be honest, if I saw it, because it's a vibe. Like, you got smoke, you got flames, you got that dual cover. What is it called? Bichromatic cover that's like just gold and red and great, and you can see all the shiny things, and it's cool. It's just a cool looking cover that I really like, and I hope that was focusing as I was saying that. Cool cover, cool concept in that rebellion, oppression. Next up, in May, we have The Will of the Many by James Islington. My brain says Islington. It might be Islington. I think I've heard a lot of other people say it Islington, but my brain is like, we'll see. I haven't heard the author say it before. So, James. This comes out on May 23rd. This interested me. It's kind of like a school-based academia type thing. I don't know if you would call it dark academia, because dark academia is gothic, and this is Roman, but fantasy. So like, wink, wink, Roman. It's fine. Essentially, this is a school for future leaders of the Republic, or whatever country it's called. My brain is saying Republic, but that my brain mixing up Greece and Rome. That probably is my brain just mixing up fancy words. Future leaders of the Empire. I don't know. Both of those words have way too much baggage. Future leaders of the country. So, future senators. So, we have political intrigue, backstabbing. We also have moral dilemmas, because the magic system
involves the voluntary subjugation of people, by people giving up their will. So, yeah, might be interesting. I really hope he nails the landing because there's some interesting concepts in here. I might wait a little bit to see if I really want to delve into it. But that's mostly because I have a packed TBR and I'm trying to get caught up on a few things before July, which you will see. Next up, we have June. June has only one book that I was excited about coming in, and that is The Prophet of Adon by Philip Chase, coming out June 23rd, 21st? 21st. Second book in his Adon trilogy, self-published. It's going to be really fun. And on to July, because July is the big month. There's 5 or 6 books that I'm excited about here. My entire TBR is going to be taken over by new releases in July. First up, as always, Brando Sando the Mando himself, Secret Project 3. Can't tell you what it is. I think I'll probably have the cover up. But yeah, this is another Cosmere book. Again, books 1 and 3, Sanderson kind of said they could probably be suitable entry points for the Cosmere. Jury's still out on whether that's the truth or not. I have to wait until the end of the book, the first one, to figure out if he's right about that. Again, Cosmere standalone is going to be hype. Like the other ones, Kickstarter backers, they get their physical copy in the month of July. It comes out ebook, audiobook for the backers on the 1st of July. And then normal people that did not back the Kickstarter because they didn't want to spend a lot of money will get the audiobooks and ebooks released on the 10th of July. And then in, I believe, October, they will be able to purchase the physical copy of these books from Tor, Glance, or whoever your publisher that usually publishes Sanderson is. After that, we have another self-published release. That is Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wong. This is kind of the first book that I've seen since I've read Sword of Kaigen that she has released. She kind of abandoned her Sword of Kaigen YA tie-in series, which is kind of sad because I'd like to get back in that world and have a finished series to go into. But Blood Over Bright Haven sounded really interesting because it's an industrial or magical utopia. And, we have a woman that is breaking boundaries and getting into the high mage school and getting declared a high magi, I believe. And now she's going to see the cracks that are in the government of a utopia because, spoiler alert, utopias are impossible, guys. But that's my personal opinion, though. Essentially, very explored, very, very much, hey, let's explore these magical secrets that are in this country. And who knows, there might be, some bringing down of the nation. It's M.L. Wong. I trust her after Sword of Kaigen. Some authors you just trust after one book, and she's one of them. So I'm excited for this. Blood Over Bright Haven comes out on July 1st. Next up, we have Judas Blossom by Stephen Arion. This sounds super interesting, and it also has a gorgeous cover. So this is a historical fantasy set in 13th century Persia, and it is Persia versus the Mongols, aka Genghis Khan. I think the setting is all I need. The setting and the cover is really all I need. I'm super hyped for this. I believe it's self-published. I could be wrong, actually. I'm not sure if it's self-published. It might be indie published. I could be wrong, but I also have seen his books on the shelf of Barnes & Noble, which is exciting. Yeah, it just sounds like a really, really interesting concept that, just seeing different cultures represented in fantasy. We've had enough of, European Middle Ages fantasy. Well, not really, but we've had a lot of that. So it's always nice to see other cultures really represented because it's just I like seeing it. I don't know. I like reading about it and learning because you learn more about other cultures, and learning about other cultures is hype and cool and swag and whatever you want to say the kids say these days. Dope, based, all those things. And then also happening in July, that's where we are, specifically on July 18th, we have the next book in the Kithamar trilogy, Blade of Dreams. Or Blade of Dream. One dream. Singular dream. Not multiple. One dream. One dream. One dream. Abort. Blade of Dream by Daniel Abraham. Daniel Abraham, auto-buy author for me. I see something, I buy. It's just how it is. It just is. It is. I read Age of Ash. It was good. It's very much focused on the city, right? It's a story about a city, and each of these 3 stories that are going to be in this trilogy take place over the same year. So we're going to see additional, perspectives, additional angles on similar stories about this city, about what's just happening in this year. And I have no idea who the POV is. Like, I don't remember who this guy was. I don't remember if he touched on the things that happened in the first one. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to get it. I'm going to read it. It's going to be good. And then we have the long-awaited Pierce Brown Iron Gold #3 Lightbringer. 3rd book in the series. 4th book is coming out TBD, but it's like titled already. It's going to be Red God. Lightbringer, so hyped for this. I read Dark Age last year. Was it last year? Has it been that long? Has it been that short? I don't know. Dark Age was really good. Like, really good. Really freaking good. Like, after Iron Gold, Dark Age was such a step up with his writing. So, with all the things I've heard about him writing Lightbringer, I'm really excited to see how he wraps this up, starts wrapping it up, because he introduced so many things in Dark Age that need wrapped up that he couldn't do in one book. So it makes sense. July 25th, tune into your local bookstore. Get this book. It's going to be great. Now on for August, when there is nothing happening. I have no idea what's releasing in August. None of the things that made it on my list are releasing in August. It's fine. We're going to move on to September. First off, September 21st, we have the 3rd book in the Adon trilogy by Philip Chase. It's happening, the entire trilogy, self-publishing the entire year. It's really cool. Like, I wish more people would do this because it's easier to finish series when they release really close together. And then on September 26th, we have a very unexpected sequel, Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan. Percy Jackson and the Olympians #6. I honestly don't know how I feel about this. I liked where Percy has been at the end of the series that I have read, right? I have not finished the Apollo series, and then I haven't finished the Magnus Chase series or whatever else is going on. I honestly am not a fan of the fact that the series are connected, like the Magnus Chase. I think he should have put that in another world. That's a personal opinion of mine. And I think he almost keeps trying to milk Annabeth and Percy, because I know Annabeth and I think Percy appears in Magnus Chase, and I'm kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. But Chalice of the Gods, I think if we're thinking about logical storylines, Chalice of the Gods isn't just going to be Greek gods. It's probably going to be a lot of different types of gods because they all exist in the same world. So, yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm not sure if I'm going to read it right away because I'm not caught up with where they are. I probably will have to catch up before I read it. But this, combined with the TV series that's coming out that hopefully will be good because Uncle Rick is, closely involved with it, makes my young heart happy.
Editing P here for the last time, I promise. There's a book coming out in September 25th, to be precise, from what I could tell, called The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft. So I just finished the Babel series by him and loved it. And I heard that he was releasing this. It is about a husband and wife team of magical mystery people, I think. Husband and wife team solving magical mysteries that involve the plot. That's about all I know about it. I think I have enough faith in Josiah Bancroft to definitely pick this up when it comes out. So,
next up in October, we have another KJ Parker. What's this one called, you ask? I don't know. I have no idea. They haven't told us. It's supposed to release October 3rd. This is the first book in a new trilogy. It releases October 3rd, and it's by KJ Parker. That's all we know. Nothing. Zilch. Nada. I wonder if it's a possibility that it could be Relics. I think that's a very small possibility, considering we already know the title, and they would have released the title if that were the case. And it's not published by Sub Press. Not this time. It's, I think, Hatchet Publishing or something. Hatchet. So, excitement, 2 KJ Parker things in the same year. That makes me happy. And then, of course, in October, we have Secret Project 4. I think I did my months wrong earlier, but it's fine. October 1st, Secret Project 4 by Brandon Sanderson, who wrote 27 million novels because he wanted to. And we were like, wait, what? He lied to us? He's such a troll. This is the most Cosmere connected of them all. I believe it's going to take place, spoilers, and that the main character is spoilers, and that you're going to spoilers it. So Yeah, I can't tell you anything because we've been forbidden by the great gods above, aka Adonalsium, that we cannot talk about it, or else we will be struck down and the Stormfather himself will come and rip our homes apart. Not really. None of those things exist. This is a fairy tale. Sacred Project 4, much like the other ones, coming out on the 1st for backers, coming out on the 10th, ebook and audiobook for non-backers. Physical books should arrive in that month for backers, and then 3 months later in December is when non-backers can acquire a different physical copy from your hopefully trusted publisher. Look around for more information. The last book that we have a solid date for, of course, is another Brandon Sanderson book, Defiant. This is the 4th book in the Skyward series, a series I have not read, if this is a track record. But I definitely want to. This is coming out November 21st, concurrently with his Dragon Steel Con thing. I don't know why. I think that's the name, Dragon Steel Con. Am I wrong? Steel Con? It's not Steel Con. It's not Dragon Con either, because that's already a thing. This is the final book in that series. There might be a sequel series that Jancy Patterson writes and Brandon supervises, but we'll see. And finally, let's get into the unknown dates. Books that I have heard rumors that they're, going to release in 2023, but either have a very vague date, like maybe in spring, or they just don't have a date. First one we're talking about is self-published one. M.L. Spencer is going to release Champion of the Fallen this year. This is the sequel to Dragon Mage. I don't know how, because I felt like Dragon Mage was a very cohesive book. Like, Dragon Mage essentially functions as a standalone. In my personal opinion, it works very well as a standalone if you want to read it. So don't feel like you have to wait for the entire series to be out, because Dragon Mage is a chunker. So you already have enough things that are intimidating you if you are intimidated by chunkers. It's a really good book. Go read it. I think I have a review. Then we have another big hitter. This was originally projected for spring of 2023. No Life Forsaken by Steven Erikson. Second book in the Witness trilogy. Another series I have not started yet, because I think I'm going to try to finish Carcanus first, the 2 books that are out for that, and then go into Witness, which the first one, God Is Not Willing, is already out, of course. So the reason that I have this as unknown is because they said spring of 2023. I don't trust them, right? It's January. I think if it was actually going to come out in spring 2023, we probably would have heard something. It is kind of possible that they could be like, oh yeah, end of May. But I think for the most part, the books that are coming out in the first half of 2023 have already been announced, at least from major publishers. So I highly doubt it's going to come in spring of 2023. It might make the back half. I think November is probably more likely release date for it, but we will see. This could just be me speculating. I mean, it is me speculating. Who knows? Next up, we have Tiago Aldala's sequel, 3rd book in his series, Twisted Faith. This book, I think, purportedly is going to come out later in the year. There isn't a solid release date or month date right now, but he is indeed chugging away at writing that 3rd book. So there's plenty of time for me to catch up and read the first 2 books and the prequel that I think he's written, the prequel novella. Excited for the same reasons I'm excited for the 2nd book. Just copy paste, Control C, Control V, right? And then other things that don't really have a confirmed date but might come out this year. The very last thing I would say is Scott Lynch's novellas. We might get one of them this year. I think the first one is called More Than Fools Fills Graves. Then we have The Mad Baron's Mechanical Attic. And then finally we have The Choir of Knives. These are 3 novellas that are going to be set between A Republic of Thieves and Thorn of Emberlane. Thorn of Emberlane has almost been as bad as, Patrick Rothfuss and George R.R. Martin. But as far as we know, and I think we've heard confirmation from the publisher that a draft does exist. They might have seen it. I don't know. But he has been a lot more forthcoming about trying to work on this thing, in my opinion, than the other 2. So, I mean, George has actually actively started working now, so it's not bad. But Patrick, of course, is the worst offender right now. But it is what it is. There's plenty of other books to read. Don't get mad at one author. It's not worth your time, and they don't owe you work. It is what it is. Life is too short to get mad at people you don't know. So, chill out, forgive them, move on, enjoy your life, because there's so many things in life to enjoy. These 3 novellas by Scott Lynch, I have no idea what they're exactly about, but there's something about moving across a continent, and it might follow the people that are in Republic of Thieves. I haven't read it yet. I read the first two. This actually, if they start coming out with these novellas, that actually might really motivate me to read the third one because I haven't. So, are you excited for these books? That's it. I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't know how long this is gonna be. I don't know what time it is. What is it? Like 12:30? Yeah. It's gonna be a long one. It's fine. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to get some rest because I certainly do because it's past my bedtime. Good night. You're awesome.